Brett is with us. Welcome back to the program, Brett. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you
Hi,
hear me okay?
Brett. Hi, everybody. For those of you who do not know, Brett Root is the president of the IMCA, one of the oldest sanctioning bodies of motorsports in the United States. And it's kind of been a family tradition for Brett. And we started last year a little bit with him providing the history of IMCA. And I'd like, Brett, if you don't mind, let's start there again this year and give us a brief recap of where IMCA has come from and where it is today.
Oh, sure. IMCA, the International Motor Contest Association, we've been around since 1915, so we've got a very long history, much longer than I've been at IMCA. But yeah, we're a dirt track auto racing sanctioning body. That's what we do. We sanction dirt track races across the United States primarily. We also do some business in Canada. So yeah, we write the rules, regulations, and the procedures for dirt track auto racing.
And how many different divisions are racing IMCA currently?
9. We've got 9 right now. Nine last year, 9 again this year. We haven't added anything, but for dirt track enthusiasts, it's the standard stuff that they see at racetracks across the United States. Anything as basic as a sport compact, which is a front wheel drive OEM car right off the street. We call them compact. Some people call them Hornets or tuners. Just a 4-cylinder front-wheel drive vehicle right off the street that our racers knock the windows out of and tear the interior out of them and put a roll cage and a racing seat in them and race them. That's basically our entry-level position these days. But we go all the way up to full-blown sprint cars, purpose-built race cars like sprint cars and late models, which we also sanction as well.
So that provides a lot of different experience levels for the racers from a very starting point to professional race teams that run in your top divisions, such as the modifieds and the late models and the ladder system, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are essentially a hobby association. We treat it as such. We don't consider ourselves to necessarily be the professional level of racing. Our goal has always been to maintain an affordable point of entry for a local individual who wants to race locally at their county fairgrounds, or maybe at a privately owned facility that's in the area. But most of our racers they work 40, 50, 60 hours a week and they race for fun. And so we've always tried to have a division that somewhat meets the needs of any type of individual that wants to do that. And with 9 divisions, there's definitely like a tier, what we would consider within our association, a level at which is entry level in our association and upper level in our association. But they're all generally doing it for fun. Some of them are trying to be professional racers, and we have a handful of racers that have come out of IMCA racing and entered into what we would consider to be at the dirt level, a professional level of racing. But most of our racers don't necessarily want to be professional racers. They just want to do something. They want to race for fun, instead of going boating or going camping or something like that with their free time. They want to go in circles and have a good time.
Approximately how many racers and tracks were involved with IMCA this past season?
We're still over 9,000. We have usually the last handful of years we've been 9,000 plus members between those 9 divisions. And we'll do business, and we have done business this year in, I think it's 40 states. It's usually 39 to 40, 41 states that we'll do business in or have some sort of a sanctioned event in. And we do that at approximately 250 racetracks. About 150 of them are running what we consider to be dedicated weekly schedules. They may race every Friday night, every Saturday night when the climate in their area is conducive to that, to dirt track racing. So when it gets nice and sunny and warm out, we have about 150 pretty consistent sanctions in tracks that we deal with, and another 100 or so that are running a special event of some sort, maybe a touring event for the Race Saver sprint cars that we do business with, or even Stars Mod Lights, which tour, which is another division of ours that tour across state boundaries.
How was 2024 for IMCA? What were some of the highlights?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many cool stories in IMCA. You know, with as many racers that we have, there's always a story, and they're always different. They're never necessarily the same. I always like to go back to some of the, I would consider probably some of the most historical moments in our association. We've had a couple of them this year that have been pretty cool. In our stock car division, Mike Nichols won his 13th national championship, and for our association with a history that goes back to 1915, that's the most ever. Last year he had tied a gentleman named Ernie Durr, who's some of the older people in our in older race fans and older racers that are going to recognize Ernie Durr's name. You know, Mike tied the record last year at 12, and he surpassed it this year in 2024 with his 13th stock car national championship. And you know, that's a very difficult thing to do. Mike's been racing. I think he's won his first championship I think he said at our banquet. It was 22 years ago. So Mike's about my age. We're both in our early 50s. So he's been racing for a very long time. But you know, which is unusual as well, to be quite honest, when it gets to the length that people actually race. Mike's not the average racer, but in how long he's raced, and actually in how many championships he's won. He's a fantastic racer. He's a great representative for our stock car division, and to have him set an all-time record for our association, I couldn't think of a better person actually that deserves it, or that would represent us. He's a very good spokesperson for dirt track racing. So that one stands out. That one stands out the most for us, Mike's accomplishment. But we've got other ones. Kaylee Richards, young lady who won our national championship in our sport compact division. Kaylee is only the second female in the history of our association to win a national championship. You know, and again, when you go back as far as we have, we're predominantly a male participant sport, and to have a female and like Kaylee, she's a great representative for our compact division. She's been racing in that division for quite a while. She also won the Late Eagle national championship that we had this year. So she won 2 national championships, and as a female, and in auto racing, I think that's very unique, and we think it's pretty cool, to be quite honest. So, you know, things like that stick out for us. The accomplishments of our racers, definitely, especially those accomplishments. But when you're dealing with 9,000 racers, we've got cool stories all over the United States of feel good moments, or just races that, you know, you like to. You know, we as an association, we're fans as well. As officials, we're also fans. We almost have to be. And at times we'd like to script our events. You know, I think the engagement that fans want out of auto racing, I think the fact that it's so pure at our level, it's not very scripted. You never know what's going to happen. So the good stories that play out the way that you'd almost like to say, hey, I wish I could have scripted that. Wouldn't have been any better for the fans to see and for the racer to experience. We had one of those moments this year with Kelly Shryock winning our stock car Supernationals event this year. So, I mean, that was one of those moments. I've been attending Supernationals since 1995, and that was one of those moments that
That's a guy who's won a lot of races in a lot of different types of race cars over the years.
Yeah, he's kind of stamped his name as a modified guy for many, many years in IMCA ranks and outside IMCA ranks. You know, Kelly is very, very, very well known in dirt track racing in the state of Iowa, especially where he resides, but also just the Midwest, where he's turned so many laps. He's been racing for as long as I can remember. So he's you know, for many years I called him the bridesmaid of the Supernationals. He ran second at the modified Supernationals. I think more than anybody has ever run second at the event over the history of the modified. And so to see him in a stock car this year, and the way that race played out, it was very, very special. And I think our fans with the the noise they made and the cheering that they had, and just the excitement after that event to see him win the stock car portion of it, you know, I think it just says it all. It was a very special moment, to be quite honest.
Yeah, a racer who's endeared himself to fans for many, many years, finally winning the one that he's been chasing for a long period of time.
Right. Yeah, in our ranks, I mean, you look at like look at Dale Earnhardt winning the Daytona 500. You know, look at how special that was for that association and for that race and his fans. You know, I mean, if I was going to compare any win in IMCA to something like that, it would be what we experienced this year at the Super Nationals with Kelly winning the feature there. And the way that race played out, it just played out very, very well. With a local guy, young kids racing. You know, Kelly's older than me,
Right.
you know, and he's racing against kids that could easily be his kids. I mean, he's almost could have grandkids. We're getting so old. I, in fact, am a grandfather. But you look how they play out. You know, he's racing against the young guys, old guy, you know, the veteran against the rookies, or the veterans, the old guy against the young guys. And to have that race play out like it did, it was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, a lot of different storylines in that race and the Super Nationals in general, and we'll dive into that into the Super Nationals a little bit more here in a minute. One of the things that I find intriguing, and I thought about it when you were talking about Mike Nichols a few minutes ago, is that we're used to in a lot of the forms of motorsports, guys get new race cars all the time. And a lot of your top guys in stock cars and sport compacts and other hobby stocks, they run the same race cars for years and years and years.
They do, and in fact, that some of that's by design as an association. One of the things we pride ourselves on around here is that we don't change rules a lot. You know, and that's very in some aspects, if you aren't careful, you feel like you get old. You know, like the association itself, the rules, you know, we got a lot of history, but if you don't change the rules much, I think they get kind of stagnant at times. I think the racers feel like we should change stuff at times just to make it cooler, more fun to do, or something like that. But keeping the rules consistently the same is very cost effective for our competitors. So you know, one of the worst things that we can do as an association is change rules every year. We have so many people turning laps in IMCA that you know, we see about 20% every year, and I think I might have said this last year. About 20% of our membership rotates out of IMCA every single season. You know, and a lot of people that are really focused on rules and what we do, they think that's our fault, when in reality it's not. It's just the natural lifestyles that we all have, the things that in life that we're dealt with having children, changing jobs, moving, relocating, you know, all those things that cycle racers out of the association. So when we keep the rules the same, it allows them to sell their cars to other racers that can use them as they are. And it also allows racers that already have that money invested in equipment to keep it without having to spend more and more money every single year. So
Yeah, they could shelf it easily and bring it back in 2 or 3 years when their life agrees with
right.
that type of lifestyle again.
Right. And even within our association, how we have the divisions, you got divisions that complement each other, like the hobby stocks and the stock cars, or the modifieds in our Northern Sport mods, to where those cars can actually cross across divisions as well. So again, it gives them another market, or an outlet to race it, and it gives them an outlet to sell it.
I know you're passionate about the rules in IMCA, and that's a lot of the reason for the success of the organization. But what are the challenges to enforcing those rules and keeping the costs down?
And rule enforcement is key, and that's tough. You know, we rely heavily on each sanctioned facility to have a competent tech official. We do our best on our end to provide the rules, to provide the manuals, to we provide what the penalties are if they find violations of the rules. So we do everything we can on our end to keep it as simple as possible to enforce the rules, by keeping our rules somewhat simple as well, as much as we can. But it is a challenge. You know, we have Dave Bren, who is our national comp director. He answers phone calls daily, 7 days a week, almost all year round, about rules, from our competitors, and also from from track operators and from their inspectors. So enforcement is key. If you're not gonna enforce the rules, why do you write them? You know, and so we could always do better, I think. I mean, if I could hire 10 guys exactly, if I could clone Dave Brin and have 10 Dave Brins working for IMCA, this association would be 10 times better. But it's just hard to find people like that. Tech inspection is incredibly thankless. It ranks right up there with promoting. It can be very, very thankless position for people to be put in because they're the bad guys. They're the guys enforcing the rules. They're the police, you know, and sometimes people don't have a favorable opinion of police, you know, but thankfully, many times people do have favorable opinions of police. You know, if you're getting a speeding ticket going down the highway, you don't much care for the state patrol. Nobody wants to get a ticket. But if somebody's breaking into your house, you kind of want the police. So yeah, that's kind of how we look at it. We try to treat enforcement, you know, in a very straightforward, logical way. We write rules that we think we can enforce, that other people can enforce for us, and you know, we deal with the challenges that creates on a daily basis.
And that butts heads of part of the DNA of motorsports, which is riding that gray line.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like I've been listening to seminars all week, and they've been some really good seminars. I've enjoyed. I've learned a lot this week, but I've heard many people say they're going to PRI, you know, and I'm like, well, we're going to PRI too, booth 3705. But for us, PRI is you know, we're like kind of like the police in the middle of you know, a really cool place where people want to do really cool things, and they come to us and say, hey, you know, have you been down to such and such's booth? Can we use that? Or have you seen this new product over there? And we're like, no, not yet. You know, so at times we're kind of I don't know, the buzzkill of PRI. I feel like that at times, but you know, because there is so much cool stuff there. That is
Oh, for
that is an
sure.
awesome event. We enjoy going to it, even though at times we feel a little bit like the buzzkill. But at the same time, lots of our promoters are there. We have dozens and dozens of IMCA sponsors that are displaying at that event. And we have lots of our competitors that are walking around. So it's a good place for us to be to kind of meet all of those folks and network and find out what's going on from a manufacturing standpoint or a new product standpoint, but also at the same time get feedback from competitors who are always offering their opinion to us as to whether or not they think we should change a rule or whether it's dumb or whether it's cool.
When I think of IMCA racing, I think of pure racing and passion. Explain the passion that you see in the pit area on any night at an IMCA race.
I mean, I think at our level, it's the same as many other sports. We see that passion play out on television and professional sports that are including NASCAR on, you know, on a Sunday where you've got somebody spin somebody out and they want to fist fight in the pits, or you know, there's always something exciting going on. You know, the pure racing itself, you know, I think people watch for that, and I think at the end of the day, our competitors are passionate about racing. They want to race. They want to win. They're competitive. They're competitive by nature. Most of the racers, I think, are competitive by nature. And when you spend the money that you do in order to compete at any level, including IMCA, you know, it's hard not to take it super serious, and it's hard not to get caught up in the competitive nature of any sport, including automobile racing. You know, and I have said before, and I say it every year, racing brings out the absolute best in people. I've spent my entire life and my career in this sport, and I don't think I would change it. If I could, I would not go back and change it. I have met some of the best people ever in this sport, and at the same time, racing can bring out some of the worst of people. You know, I've seen some pretty rotten things play out enforcing rules, you know, and attending events. But the way I look at it is if racers, if they aren't fighting and they aren't mad at somebody for the results, or if they aren't disappointed in something that didn't turn out like they wanted it to, they don't care, you know. And so when they don't care, then you got
Find
problems.
something else to do. Yeah.
Yep, that's the way I look at it. And we have Again, we had 9,000 racers turning laps in IMCA this year. There's a lot of them that care a lot, apparently.
Well, the biggest event on the IMCA calendar is the Supernationals. Comes right after Labor Day every year and week long at Boone Speedway in Iowa. And it's just amazing what that has become. Let's talk a little bit about the Supernationals. How does it continue to grow every year?
It's. I think that's a really hard question, but it's an easy question. I think we'd have to really try hard to screw the Supernationals up now. The Supernationals has got so much history. It started with one division, our modifieds, and it's evolved into, we've got 7 divisions that race over 8 days, starting on Labor Day weekend every year, usually the end of August to the first weekend in September. We race for 8 straight days at Boone Speedway in Boone, Iowa, and it's hard to put it to words until you attend, and I think that that event creates it's a snapshot of weekly racing for us. When our association has as many tracks and as many racers that we have in it, an event like that it is what provides the opportunity for 1,000 race cars to show up at a dirt track in central Iowa. We've broke the car count record at the Supernationals for the last 4 years in a row. This year we had 1,038, I think. That's a lot of race cars to try to get into your pit area. That's a lot of race cars to try to get on a racetrack. That's a lot of laps on a racetrack, especially a dirt racetrack. So there are so many moving parts to the Supernationals that have been looked at and fine-tuned over the last, well, let's see, it was the 42nd annual this year, over the last 40 years to get it to where it's at. And now, we want to continue to fine tune that event every year. I thought it was really interesting. I listened to Steve Phelps at NASCAR Talk, and he made a comment about connectivity and race fans and connectivity. And he said that they had spent $50 million on the connectivity or providing fiber to 12 racetracks on the Cup circuit. That is an unbelievable amount of money. But at the same time, I get it, because we have the same problem at our level at Boone Speedway for the Supernationals. Nobody wants to come to the Supernationals and unplug. If you're unplugging on vacation, and that's where most of our fans and our racers come to Supernationals, it's vacation. If you're unplugging on vacation, you're usually wanting to do that on purpose. And these days, not many people want unplugged. And a lot of people can't be unplugged. You can't go to some place for a week and ignore your job, ignore your family. Most of us have children and kids. Not everybody brings their kids to the Supernationals. So everybody needs their phone to work, and so we haven't spent 50 million. We haven't even spent 4 million. I was doing the math, like, geez, that's over 4 million a track. We haven't spent that kind of money at Boone, but I would say if for Boone to get better, for Supernationals to get better, the connectivity issue, the logistics of the event, everything just has to get better, and we have worked really, really hard at getting better. 1,000 campers. We have not right at 1,000, but there's usually about 900 campers on the facility. So I was impressed when the gentleman from the promoter of Crandon said they had 2,500 campers at Crandon. I was like, I'm jealous. I'm like, that's awesome. And how they make that work, I have a great deal of respect for anybody running events of that size.
Yeah, it's like a small town.
It is. Yeah, Boone Speedway's got I think Boone, the city of Boone's got about 12,000 residents in it, and at Supernationals we'll push 25,000 people into our 76-acre facility, for 8 days of racing. So we double the size of the city just with the people that are at the event. People say it's another town when the Supernational shows up to Boone. So that creates a lot of really difficult logistical problems, and from our standpoint, that's our focus has been for the Supernationals the last few years, and we're going to continue to do that. And I think if we do, our car counts will continue to do really well, and I think our fan counts will get better as well.
That improved connectivity has also kind of led to your streaming services. And how has streaming of the Supernationals increased the exposure of the event?
I don't think you can put a dollar amount on it, to be quite honest. I mean, you know, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I think if that's the case, a stream's worth way more than that because the stream for us tells the story. It tells the story really, really well. And so we've invested a great deal of time and money in IMCA TV and getting better and better at streaming our event. We've got one of the best streaming platforms at Rivet. And we definitely have some of the best, the most talented people working behind the scenes to stream our Supernationals event.
Yeah, the quality of that broadcast is really incredible, and you see things that you would never see from photographs or even from somebody's race story. It's really special.
Yeah, we hire FPV drone flyers. We have a team. I think there's 3 of them of guys that come out and just fly drones, and they're very, very talented, and that has been extremely popular in our stream as well. So. Yeah, anytime you can kind of improve your product or try to improve what people get to see, I think you get good results from it, and we're constantly doing that with the Supernationals.
As we wrap it up, anything new or unexpected we should look for in the coming year?
No, I mean, we've made some announcements on some rules. I'm sure we'll deal with that a little bit at PRI. We've added an OEM replacement metric frame in essentially 3 of our divisions. I got to thank Speedway Motors for what they've done at designing a replacement frame that we need in our market. And I think that's something that obviously in many other industries or automotive aspects of other industries is going to be useful as well. But, you know, big rule changes like that or big rule announcements, we've made most of those. We've added a composite Camaro body from 5-star. We've done both of those, and those are 2-year projects in the making, each one of them. So we can't thank 5-star, can't thank Speedway enough for the engineers and the time and the effort and the money that they've invested in those projects, because it gives our association a better direction in the future.
Well, thank you very much, Brett.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Looking for a quick fix of motorsports news? The Speed Sport Daily is what you need. It's a free racing newsletter delivered directly to your email every day. We'll cover the winners and the losers and tell you who's making news off the track. It's NASCAR, NHRA, World of Outlaw, IndyCar, and so much more. Go to speedsport.com today and get signed up for America's free racing newsletter and get your daily motorsports fix. The Speed Sport Daily.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck. Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowder Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowder Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowder, victory is within your reach.
For over 25 years, Wisconsin-based C-Tech Manufacturing has been engineering and manufacturing the toughest, most accessible aluminum tool drawers, cabinets, carts, and tactical storage solutions for America's hardest working professionals. Whatever you need to store and however you need to store it, put your trust in C-Tech Manufacturing. We build it better. Visit our new website at ctechmanufacturing.com or give us a call at 715-355-8842.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, what is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment. Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.